Hey, good evening. I'm hearing. All right, good evening. It's 6:04. We'll bring the May 5th, think of the Maya meeting to order. We'll begin a roll call, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Here.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Here.
Councilmember Pinello,
Here.
Councilmember Lane,
Here.
Councilmember Conlon,
Here.
Councilmember Carpenter is recorded absent. Councilmember Beckwith,
Present.
Councilmember Michaels.
Here.
Don't rise, this is blackly. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
to the republic which stands
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comments. I have Mr. Chu.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's sort of a frivolous comment, but I just had to say. The city yard waste collection site already takes maintenance, but to be profitable, it will also take human surveillance. Homer had similar contamination problems until they hired a person to supervise and maintain their site. Now people know what's expected and it runs smoothly. If the city were to compost yard waste, it could, it could sell what it produces. The going rate for compost is $50 a ton. Food waste compost gets up to $400 a ton. And it saves $100 a ton in shipping fees. If the city wanted to compost, it would require probably at least an acre of space, a small office for the monitor, water and electricity, plus a skid steer to maintain and police the area. That brings me to my point. If the city wants to compost, it might be good to hold on to that old skid steer rather than surplus. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else for public comments? All right, hearing none, finance update. Mr. Shager.
I don't have a whole lot here tonight. First, one that I had was, this week we went to sale with our, bands and bonds for this year. And we sold two bands, one for $19.5 million. That is like a 20-day call on it, so that when we get the WAFIA money, we could then pay that down with, that within 20 days and minimize our interest. That rate, because of the 20-day call, came in at 5.9%. We also did a $12.1 million ban that's for a year, with no call, that came in at 4.62%. And today, we did have some issues with this sale due to our downgrade and not having the 24 audit complete. But we did sell $300,000 of long-term bonds that were originally scheduled for 8 years. I brought them down to 5 years, and we had at least one bidder on there, and that went for a 5-year term of 5.95%. We're still working diligently on the 2024 audit, but will not say that it's complete. Every day we check off another box and 2 more seems to get added to it, but we are making headway, and hopefully that gets finalized sooner than later. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Do you have a ballpark of any idea when 2024 may be completed? Currently, council's going on 2023 numbers.
Time I do that, I'm still pushing the auditors to have it on August 8th by May 14th, okay, being complete. We're doing things at the same time, or in parallel with different things, trying to get it done. But there are some issues that it's not that things are wrong, it's being able to document things going back as far as 21. And being on the ES400 system doesn't help us. Because you can't just in the AS400 system, you can't run a report today as of some date in 24 or 23. Okay, if we don't have a report or can't find a report, then it becomes, you have to back in everything. You may take an older report you have and then figure out what's been paid, and it's time consuming, problematic. So,
Are we at risk of, I mean, how is the state viewing this? What is? I mean, we're significantly behind here. What can
they're
we?
not happy, they're not, I mean, that's fact, doesn't mean, that they're gonna, you know, can't really do anything about it except for complain to me or complain to you. But they want them done, there's no doubt about that. And I can say we're doing 100% diligent, and if you, I'm gonna give you all a correction to this problem. When I was at Binghamton, we had a person that worked underneath me, okay, that was not appointed or was gonna stay with the, this transition from one government to the next, okay? And when I left, that person went into my shoes and then backfilled him before I left with somebody else. So there's always that,
Continuity.
yeah, the continuity of how to do things, okay? Not going from, you know, one, administration to another administration, and letting that drop, okay? Which I think was part of what happened here. I'm not positive of everything that went on, okay? But the continuity at the city of Binghamton was very smooth, okay? And I think that's an important aspect of any municipality. And I would say when I went to Johnson City, it was very similar, that from one mayor to the next mayor, they appointed a different treasurer and they had the same problem.
Once you have 2024 completed, will it be easier to do 25? Will that go faster?
It should.
Okay.
So the bond, you said 300 grand, 5.59% for long-term bonds. Was initially almost 900,000, around 900. What happened with the other 600,000?
There was actually $700,000 that was, yeah, it was originally 999,000 and 700,000 did not have to be bonded for. I had thrown that in to capture it now. I was able to put that with the band, the lower term band, 4.62. And be able to get to 300,000.
Okay, so the second one, that band was 4.62. Can you please repeat, what was the first one?
5.99.
5.99. Which one of the two bands will eventually, was it the second one that will eventually roll over into the WAFIA loan?
The first one, 5.9, the higher interest rate one, will roll
And how much was in that first one again?
19.5.
How much do you think we'll be able to roll?
I think it's 16.178, 278.
278. I believe it's 278.
So there'll still be another 3 million there. Will that go to the other
Yeah,
band?
that won't, that'll stay that way for the remainder of the year.
All right, just out of curiosity, why 19 in that first band and not 16 point whatever would go into the WAFIA loan?
I can't give you the exact reason behind it, but I questioned that same thing, but we could not roll it into the other one.
So. And I think this is instructive for the public in terms of what this is going to cost us, because. That first one, 19.5 million at almost 6%. And then to have 16 million come out to go to 1 million. Or excuse me, 1.08% interest. A 5.91% interest rate difference is fairly significant.
About $50,000 a month.
So until we get that done,
Yep.
it's costing the city an additional $50,000 in additional, not just the total cost. $50,000 a month.
That's good.
So
If that wasn't done, that'd be costing the city much more. I gotta commend Chuck for getting it down to that number. I sat down with Chuck on Monday and we went through basically the same thing you're going through right now. So,
Brian, what would you suggest be done? If you don't agree with this, what would you suggest be done?
well, what I was asking for was clarification and making sure that we're talking about the same numbers. And that everybody understands what the problem is here, because the longer that we're not able to finish the 24, audit and be able to close and move on to the WIFIA loan, it's a significant additional cost. I mean, the cost is already fairly high. And then an additional 50 grand because we're not meeting the deadline. So I think the question then comes back, Chuck, what additional assistance do you need? What can be done so we can get this wrapped up in the next couple of weeks? Because this is,
Brian, there's nothing that anybody can do on this. I have one person that understands it, that has to go through and dig up all the stuff from the AS400. We don't have a full-time IT person. It's had it been put on Munis back in, when we brought Munis on board, all this would be a lot simpler. Using the AS400 in this process is very problematic.
You are trying to correct a situation you inherited. And you are doing the very best that you can do.
And I'll say the same thing about the lady that's working with me on this. She was in here all day Sunday. The last 3 weekends we've been in here trying to get this thing done. It's not like we're not putting an effort into it.
No. There's no reason to point fingers. You're doing everything that you can possibly do with the staff that you have to make this right.
We are,
And you deserve that credit, right? Period.
I appreciate that.
and keeping up the day to day.
Right, yeah, right.
I could not agree more with the amount of work and effort going into this, and I do appreciate that. I do think when we're considering cuts of 10% or 15% to each department, factoring how much additional debt we may be carrying and the payments for that, if we're unable to roll this WIFIA loan over, I do think that's important because it's going to change the dollar figure we're going to have to cut departments by. So what's the time frame we need to be working on to be able to roll the WIFIA loan over? What are the barriers there?
Today it's balancing the cash from the 23 audit. That's what we're doing today.
Are you optimistic on being able to roll the band over to 20 day?
I hope by the end of May, Tom. I can't guarantee it. Okay, I don't know what the next thing the auditor is gonna throw at me.
Right.
Okay, when we give him one thing, something else doesn't balance. So then he's digging into that, digging into that. It's a constant flow.
And some of the imbalances that he's created were created by him, by the accounting company when they did the previous audits too, so we make note of those cleaning up too, so sometimes you're qualifying his numbers, not just yours.
And Scott, I'm not blaming the account.
I'm not either, but I'm just trying to make it everybody clear of how complicated it gets quickly.
It's when you don't have. When I sit here with the auditors, I'm gonna give him my opinion on stuff and say, this is right, this is wrong, okay? And ultimately, they're the boss. Okay, but I have to document to them why we did what we did. Okay, and if it's not accurate, then he's not gonna approve the audit. We'll have to change the numbers to what it is, okay? Doesn't matter who's right or wrong here, it's like, when it comes down to it, our receivables say we have $2 million, we have $2 million, we don't have 2.1, we don't have 1.8. Our cash says we should have $12 million, it should tell you we have $12 million in general fund, water fund, sewer fund. There's no exception to it, okay? Why that wasn't done in the past, I can't answer that, but that's what we have to get squared away. We have to make sure that all the money that's supposed to be in water, sewer, and general fund are in the accurate accounts. We have one big account, the way Munis was set up, that's for all three of them, okay? I'm not saying that's the way Munis sets it up. I disagree with it, and we're not the only ones that do it. Okay, but it's a problem.
I appreciate that.
So
How confident are you at this point? The high end figure we're talking about to cut Steve's department is 15%. Are
We
you
talked about-
confident that that will be the amount we need to hit, or is it possible we need to be making 20% cuts and we just don't realize it yet?
well, who's coming up with these numbers, by the way? 10%, 15%, now we're.
20%.
I
There was
mean,
a conversation that went on in the finance and audit committee that we were going back to the departments to ask them for what that would entail and what services would be lost by doing something.
how come our finance committee hasn't updated council regarding this? How many times
I
have
don't
you
think
met?
we have clear instructions in terms of the finance committee. It's
Well, how can you
purview.
put a percentage on, you don't even know what the dollar amount's gonna be?
We are getting the numbers from the finance office of the mayor's team. We're not generating these figures.
It's on
And as far as
the email this
we're-
week.
I did see that.
All right, so part of the conversation in the committee was that it's an ad hoc committee and it's not a deciding body. And I, for one, am not comfortable with that committee making decisions that should be brought to this full board. So we haven't brought forward any recommendations for everybody. We've been receiving information. One of the concerns that I've had was we had a discussion at a finance committee meeting. Well, I'll back up. Beginning of the year, I think you'll recall in January, was it $700,000 or $900,000 was the anticipated deficit for 26, right? And then there was discussion about that being dropped down to about 500,000. And then 2 meetings back in the finance committee, it was up to closer to $1 million. And I was kind of surprised by that because the number is fluctuating. So at the last meeting, we talked with Chuck and I'll be the bearer of bad news. He said, well, it's probably 1 to 1.2 million and it might still go higher. And we're looking at a number that we don't know what the number is. So I'm concerned about any committee making a decision without bringing it to all of us, because you should be involved. If we're talking about potential cuts to anything, especially when it impacts programming, there's 8 people here in terms of council that need to be involved in the decision.
So what do you see your job as a member of the finance committee to be?
Honestly, going from department to department right now, I think we need to take a step back and we need to have a better, the question that Tom just asked, we need to have a better read on the 26 budget and what's the actual differential we think there might be between revenues and expenditures for this year.
And then will you come to us with recommendations? Well,
Absolutely, we are not allowed and able to make a decision like that, in my opinion.
Well, that is the purpose. Let me just clarify a couple things. The ad hoc committee was put up for the finance to help, so these meetings don't drag out with long dissertation conversations about that. It's specifically tasked to look at all the audit and information that's bring into and up to and keep it up to date on all the finance, and then report the relative information that they think pertinent to their peers. The second part of it is to review, which was determined by that committee, to have each department come in with a 10 and a 15% price number of what that would entitle, what that would mean. Not to cause mass hysteria, not to make cuts, but to look at that and make recommendations. And it was primarily targeted for a 2027 budget. However, if something comes up that could have an impact for 2026, it should be considered as well to be able to do those. You know, certainly I'll take in purview of items that have come up and discussions that have come up that make sense to be able to do that. But again, it was purposely not set up to make decisions. It was set up to bring back recommendations to this, no different than our many other different ad hoc committees and different ad hoc committees for the parking, ad hoc committee for the code, to review everything that's been out there and what it is, to look at it, to analyze the revenues, to discuss all that, and to not push people in areas that aren't necessarily needed. You know, certainly there's a lot of pressure on the finance department. Chuck knows it, they know it. You come down there and feel it with the rest of us, they get it. And, you know, it can't be fast enough. We all get that. And we're all working towards doing that. But it'd be helpful if the finance committee could continue to work towards solutions, resolutions, and, you know, not exacerbating the problems, but help solving the problems. That's what we're looking.
My understanding is we've discussed cuts to 2026 programming.
I think it was brought up in that meeting as a possibility it could happen. These are options to do 10 to 15%. These are options that could be done now. So there's one department heard from, and some of the issues, some of the items were discussed were, you know, changing the hours a little bit, maybe cutting back on a couple of lifeguards.
For this year.
For this year, for
Right.
some of those
So
could
we
be
need to
happening
start having
here.
these conversations
Well,
with
that
the
should be a-
council now.
Those recommendations should have been, in my opinion, the finance committee heard it, agreed with some of them. And had those should have brought back to this, we recommend following these so we could get immediate action to have cuts or savings this year, not cuts necessarily, but savings this year. And we'll continue to implement, that's my fiduciary responsibility as mayor too. We'll continue to research and evolve what we have to in our youth bureau, for example, in maybe looking at the hours of operation to looking at those to make the most best decision, and certainly will inform everybody here at that. If it's something more drastic, certainly we want to get more input and have those dialogue and communications, but on a day-to-day basis, those are items that happen every day. So I had 2 training forms on my desk, and we say, this training is not necessary, I'm not gonna bring those items to council. We're gonna review those, we talk about with department heads, make sense of it, what it's gonna be, and if liaison's necessary, then the liaison's necessary, so. We had another conversation to in-depth more from what we talked about in the finance with Youth Bureau today. In our meeting with them today, the liaison was there to discuss it too, and the department head and the waste department head were there. And we'll make a good conscious effort to make the best decision.
We know we're gonna need to make cuts. And so we know people want to hear what the solution's gonna be to this crisis, if you will. And so we thought having the department heads come in with their suggestions would arm us with the information we need to make decisions. So right now, we're kind of information gathering. And we will present, our suggestions. But the thing with the Youth Bureau was that they're rolling things out pretty quickly. So I think that's part of the reason why they were the first department to come forward. And
A lot of their programs are somewhat related, so
Yeah.
time is of the essence.
Yeah.
Will you feel like you have to wait until you have all departments? Information and what your suggestions would be, or could you do? At the next meeting, the youth bureau?
I think I apologize to interrupt, but I think some input from the rest of council in terms of what would be helpful to them would be beneficial
yeah,
from the finance committee.
because I wouldn't want the Youth Bureau to bear the brunt if we're not having to go at it as hard as we think we might. It's kind of,
It was like the wastewater contract kind of thing. I didn't want them to have to pay the price for other contracts being settled.
right,
Part of the difficulty and why members of the finance committee are asking these questions is we need to know how big the cuts need to be. And we still don't have a good sense of that. I'm just trying to figure out how close we are to having a firm
John,
number.
I'll
So
give you-
it's
I'll
not a
give you-
lack of appreciation for the effort that's being
I'll
made.
give you a clean effort. You guys all know this. Last 2 years, you lost about $2.5 million each year. Okay, that's very clear to everybody here. Okay, this year, you're gonna lose at least $1 million. Okay, I said 500,000 the first time and I said I hadn't reviewed it. At the same time I said that, the mayor said he thought it was $1 million. Okay, at the next meeting, I came back and I said I agreed with the mayor's number of $1 million, maybe a little higher. Okay, so you're got at least $1 million problem in this year's budget, and that's just looking at the revenue side. Okay, how things flow with all the expenses is still to be decided on some things.
Yes,
Okay,
but those numbers have changed in the last month. So why we're asking these questions is the numbers we're working with as a finance committee in the last month has changed by $1 million, the gap we're trying to close. So I appreciate the efforts being made. I'm not asking these questions to be difficult. I'm trying to lock down on how significant of a hole we're in.
Well, let me say
Fine,
this, let me say this stuff. You and Brian here, if you don't do anything now, you're gonna have $1 million plus. Okay, by the end of the year, okay? So I haven't seen any suggestions come from anybody.
We have been meeting and we have been,
Have you sent me an email giving me any suggestions, giving to mayor?
I reached out to you about getting together, Chuck, and I have not heard back yet.
I can't even get an email to you. It can call
I
me back.
am having issues with IT that I've been trying to work through, Mr. Shager. And I've been having issues getting in contact with them. They're ongoing. I had emails. But
Have a phone number?
I sent you a text too about getting together and I've not heard back yet. So I look forward to that. I'm simply trying to get a handle on how big of a hole we are in so we can address it. And I changed my vote a couple of months ago on the DRI project because I was told it was imperative for the city to get that money. I am on 3 committees in addition to the council. I'm making myself available. And I look forward to working with you on this moving forward, but I'm trying to get answers to the numbers here.
We also were told that we're not to expect to be able to make this all up in 1 year. You were projecting like in 5 years, maybe we could turn it around. Right?
That period, yes.
So then. Once we know what we're dealing with, we can figure out how much we can tackle. We need a plan. And so in order to make the plan, we need to know what numbers we're dealing with. And I'm sure it's working on weekends and everything. I'm sure it's as frustrating or more frustrating for Chuck than it is for us. But I think we should just continue to hear from departments, since the Youth Bureau does have a real time constraint linked to it. We should bring it at next meeting or a suggestion, and you guys can see what you think.
We've already been reviewing things that we can possibly tweak.
We'll send it to you
This year.
beforehand. Yeah,
Um,
we can
It's not
send
gonna
you,
be a lot, but it's gonna be a good start.
we can send you exactly what Andrea sent to us. Yeah,
Well, Tom's
Well-
aware, he's a lead.
okay.
Andrew will be sending out an email here, to probably tomorrow or the next day. So we'll get moving on that. So anybody else have any other questions on finance? All right, we'll continue to work on it. I think, for everybody to, kind of do it, maybe keep on finance, we can just give an update of where everything's at, what the goal is and what the objection, what's trying to happen, because I think some more of these concerns are gonna come out as you go along, and I think the fire department's next, and they come in with, they're gonna get rid of 4 tires on a truck, and then that's gonna cause a big ruckus on how many truck tires they need or whatever. So I just wanna get ahead of those kind of rumor mills and anxiety and stress that created for real people that are working and others that are there, that the rumor mill is gonna start. So again, they're all just trajectory to look at it till we get time or get the numbers that we need to really have a good answer to the solutions. So that will move on to the mayor's report. So a couple things, attended the 1890 historic Markland dedication. It's great that that's finally up there. I couldn't believe there isn't one all these years, and there's another one going up on 18 Tompkins Street next Thursday for another property. So our Historic Society has been doing a great job in getting these out. I think that's the third one that I've done. It's in here, so we appreciate all their efforts in making those things happen. And attended the 2026 Portland County Distinguished Citizen Award. It's great to hear, Amy Bugs his whole life. It was, she's done a lot for our community, and just amazing to hear all the good stories. Always good to hear good things. Attended the 2026 High School Opportunity Fair at City Portland. And that was very positive, and all the students came in to see what's out there, and had representatives from the city there as well. Met with community leaders to discuss housing needs and the housing study that's coming out for the county. So we have a group that's working together towards addressing those wants and needs, and identifying those areas and all the areas that are available for improvements for commercial as well. Central New York Regional Planning Meeting, attended that last week, and got an update on Micron. Pretty impressive where that Micron is and the impact that's gonna happen. It'll be all year just doing the dirt on the ground, but the numbers are staggering for sure. Attended Soil and Water Conservation 80th Anniversary Tree Planting at the Waterworks. That was, they've been doing a lot. They're behind the scenes people that do a lot, and they've done a lot for our community, or for our city, specifically on our solar field inspections, to make sure we don't get washout, make sure that everybody's doing the jobs properly. So we appreciate the partnership there, and as well as helping us with our trees and the waterworks, and making sure that those are where they need to be, and some shading on stream beds and some of the other issues that they help us with. Corn Ducky Derby is always a fun time, great turnout, beautiful weather for it, one of the best I've been to yet. Yesterday, Senator Schubert came in. It's always great to see him, and he attended the Cortland County Mental Health Facility ribbon cutting. They did a nice honoring plaque of him, and a picture of him when he was much younger, so I don't know if he took offense to that, but if you get a chance to look at that at the building, it's great to see that. It's very supportive and great, giving us that huge need for our community, and I know that, you know, that mental health having that there, and, you know, I think we're gonna pay the price, probably another property will come off the tax rolls. They need additional parking to keep it safe off the streets there, so that's unfortunate, but I think their mission is a huge mission. So Friday, so the town gal meeting was yesterday, what was really the ongoing and outgoing. Presidents, of the SGA were there, so it's great to meet the incoming ones as well as the outgoing ones. The outgoing ones were one of the best we've had since we've done this town gown. They've been great, students have been great this year, we've really had little problems, we had spring fling this weekend, and that was, I think the chief said, the best in 33 years, is that right? I think so, yes. So that's been good, still some issues, still some areas to be addressed. But overall, it was great. But remind everybody that the last day of class is this Friday. So after that, you know, there'll be some finals and then there'll be areas that have trash. Once they do move out, they've been instructed. We have reuse center is gonna be taking a lot of that. There'll be dumpsters set up, there'll be trash, and there'll be some, give the landlords a couple of weeks to move some trash. So everybody be patient with that, because it's going to be as we know, continuous, but there is a plan and there is a designation. We just gotta give everybody time to get it done. And all landlords have agreed to moving in that streamlined process, but they got a lot, some of them have a lot to handle. Friday is Guthrie's Nightingale event, certainly recognizing all the nurses, met with the hospital this week as well, but a crosswalk across the parking lot, the solar ones for that, so thanks DPW for that. Getting that solar light in there, there's a huge concern for their safety, and they were appreciative of that. Portland State, last thing I wanted to notice, I went to a TC3 baseball game this weekend down at their campus, which is always great to watch them, and they actually won a good tight squeeze pull out. The Portland State teams have been doing great. The lacrosse, you know, is moving on, men, women, softball as well. Men, women, lacrosse, softball, and baseball are doing really well. With that, I think that's all I had. So we'll move to Ward 1.
Very good. Last meeting, I'd asked about the Environmental Advisory Committee, and Mayor, if you need help, I'd be more than happy to help in terms of trying to track down people to potentially serve on that committee. I think it's a valuable one, and part of that, the next question, and not for right now, but with the weather warming up, bike racks in the downtown core, looking forward to seeing a little bit more and what's gonna happen with that. And another question at some point, I know you and Chuck had a meeting with the county last week, talked a little bit about, love to get some feedback in terms of how that went. Had a couple of residents were concerned about some water bills, and thank Matt Wedgie, because we had a great conversation about where we're at, and some of the older meters are creating problems. And that's something that probably should be on our radar in the next year or so. And Katie, great board meeting I attended. Katie had a meeting last week and inspired me. I'd like to have a meeting down at Parker School, and I'm gonna plan that in the next month or so. Sent an email to everybody a little bit earlier today, because after our last meeting, reading through the minutes, there was some discussion about the resolution from January of 2024 to pursue the state financial restructuring board, that it would be good for us to redo that conversation just as the meeting was started. Chuck saying that we can wait until the next meeting for that, but looking forward to having that discussion and putting that onto council agenda. And another question, I guess, directed toward the mayor, in terms of agenda items, how would you like council members to proceed for asking for agenda items to be placed on the council agenda?
Just like we always talked before, it goes through the appropriate department, right? So the department would be, they would help with that resolution, and Randall's offered to write one as well.
Very good. Thank you. That's my report.
So benches and bike racks, the benches are, I think if they'll just finish those and they'll be going out. The old benches are restored and done, and so they should be going out as well. So those two items are, and the Wi-Fi is up and running. I wish I could tell everybody the password, but we'll do social media on that too. There's a password for the Wi-Fi on Main Street. So all the public parks and the Wi-Fi is the same password. I don't recall what it is, and Andrew's not here to help me. So I made it something simple so I wouldn't forget. Okay, that's all I had downtown. So, I'm sorry.
You can call me Katie. I know that a lot of you think of me as Buzzkill Katie anyway. Because we pray for rain on the weekends and cold weather. And that really helped this last weekend, although I have to say the police did a great job. And it was a dream. It was just like any other neighborhood, you know, we could go to sleep without hearing pounding bass, we could watch TV. And it was great. And we're only gonna have them for a little bit longer, and they do have their, it is nice to have them around in many ways. Anyway, so the neighborhood's been quiet because it's been a cold, wet spring. And I did have a city council, Ward 2 meeting, a Ward 2 meeting at Harper, and boy, does that gym look nice. It is just totally refurbished. It looks so great.
Thank you, Frankos.
Yeah, thank you, Frankos. We had about 20 people. They were very concerned about a property on Westport. And the mayor went and spoke with the owner and looked at the work that's been being done. And I was able to reassure everyone that there's gonna be a family in there, so they're all excited about that, so that's wonderful. They still have some concerns that I'm trying to address, so I met with our corporation counsel just before this meeting to talk about it. I was really grateful that the chief of police attended the meeting. Corporation counsel attended the meeting, our deputy fire chief and the mayor were there, as well as Mr. Tobin from Ward 1. And that was just great because they were able to answer questions that I would have had to go to them to get the answers. Anyway, so it was just really, really helpful and I appreciate it. And that's it. That's it for the second
We're gonna
word.
be rainy and cold this weekend too. The next 2 weeks. Something to look forward to.
I'm so sorry about that.
Al?
So third ward, all's quiet, still working on what was brought up at the ward meeting. Couple of months ago, or a little, a month ago, about the streets, and I know the mayor. Has been addressing that issue, so I'm going to schedule another ward meeting as soon as we have some things worked out. So end of May-ish, right after Memorial Day, and I'll have an update for that, otherwise, we're good.
David McLean?
Like to thank the chief for setting up the speed machine, I don't know, what do you call that?
Radar trailer.
Oh, okay, radar trailer, up by the Red Dragon, not on my side lawn. And it's got some issues that are gonna be looked into, but the red lights work when people are speeding, coming into the city. If we could have one on the other side, so when they're going out, that would be great. I spoke last time about the fact, the big event that happened, and that the big event did not happen at my house. I was on campus for work and I happened to run into a couple of young ladies who were in the government, the student government, and I spoke to them about it. And last Sunday, there were 4 people at my house who was cleaning up, and so I got to give them the $60 Pontillo card. So yeah, it was great. They did a wonderful job.
Good.
I also attended the job fair at the college last Tuesday. The area businesses were amazing, and the police department was there. And every police department, sheriffs were there, and the campus police were there. And so many businesses that kids who attend BOCES could hook up with. And it was Homer, we brought seniors. I don't know what anybody else did, but I mean, there were, Whitney Point was there. all the area schools were there. It was a very nice event. There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Khan.
Thank you. As Mr. Shager was kind of pointing out, I have been having issues with my email. I did reach out to the city's IT department. I was told there was nothing I could do or they could do to help me out. I've deleted hundreds of emails from it. I'm getting some, but apparently not other emails. So I do apologize if you reached out and I have not heard back. Please follow up. I apologize for the inconvenience, but I will work on getting in touch. I've also met with some constituents on safety issues, particularly with crosswalks on Main Street. It's an ongoing concern, especially with the nicer weather. As well as a blind street on South Main and Randall, where some folks have some concerns about visibility turning off Randall onto Main Street. So look forward to having some conversations with that. These were discussions I had over the weekend. So that does it for the fifth ward, but I appreciate it.
And thank you, Mr. Beckman.
Just real quick, we're finally getting the house down on Pomeroy and get started today.
It's done. It's done.
I knew it was supposed to be today, just got looked down. Forget the number of it, but it's been vacant for years.
Small.
Yeah, so that needed to come
That
back.
took a while, but the others.
Yeah, I know. So, other than that, it's pretty quiet in the seventh ward.
Mr. Mike.
Just a couple of things. Had a commercial business reach out to me regarding some issues with homeless. Placed 2 phone calls with them. I haven't received a response back. I think my next step is I'll probably pop in and talk to them instead of trying to reach them by phone. I think that's probably the quickest way to find out what's going on. Also had a woman has a 2-family rental. She has some questions regarding the new permit process regarding inspections, and I stopped in and spoke to code today, and they're gonna reach out to her to try to answer some of her questions, concerns. We have 2 chicken permit inspections coming up. One's on the agenda tonight. Once again, it looks like I'm back in the chicken business. And that's basically all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, accept the minutes. Can I get a motion for the minutes as presented? Delvin and Sullivan, any questions? All in favor? Opposed, carried. Resolution, agenda item number 1, authorize mortgage subordination and agreement.
Resolved that the city of Cortland subordinates its mortgage instrument, number 2022-10222, recorded on March 3rd, 2022 with the Cortland County Clerk. Said subordination to facilitate a new mortgage with NBT Bank in the approximate amount of $350,000 for said owner, and further authorizes Mayor Steve to sign a subordination agreement for the same.
Any motion, Mr. Beckwith? A second. Ms. Lang, any questions? Any move, please?
Councilmember Toller.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan. Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conley.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 2, authorize discharge of declaration of interest agreement.
Resolved that the common council authorizes the discharge of the declaration of interest filed against 77 to 79 Main Street, contingent upon receipt of $48,000 from Portland Student Living LLC in satisfaction of the repayment obligation. And be it further resolved that Mayor Steve is hereby authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to execute said discharge.
I need a motion. Move, Mr. Sullivan. Beckwith. Any questions on this? So I know Mr. Beckwith, you're just talking about repayment of loans if they do it. This was a facade payment, and they're selling the property, so they have to repay. I'm hoping that we can get that rolled back into another facade, but probably they'll go back to the state. That's a session.
You're gonna ask, when it does come in, where does it go to the city?
Goes back to the state. And you know, any of the repayment, what's that?
It'll come through the city though. What account? Can we get an update when it happens, what account it's going into, and then The adjustment.
Yeah, I'm sure we can get that out of finance, but I think doesn't they go right to Toma and then they pay it back? It goes right to Toma and they pay it at the state.
Actually, it came to us and we're just sending it right back out.
Is it?
82,000. Is that?
No, that's not the same one. I think it goes right to Toma, 99% sure. Yeah, we'll find out. We'll put that on a tape for the next meeting, please. But I'm 99% sure Toma receives it and then sends it back to the student. Anybody else? Can you move it, please?
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
I,
Agenda item number 3, amend the 2026 adopted general fund budget.
Resolved that the city of Cortland County Council does hereby amend the 2026 general fund budget as outlined in the accompanying table. Increasing account for other unclassified revenue by $3,000 to make the total amount in that line 5,000. Increasing line for operating equipment, increasing that by $5,000 to 30 for a new total line total of 35,000. And increasing the line for refunds of prior year's expenses by 2,000 for a new budget amount of 22,000.
I need a motion, please.
I'll move it.
Ms. Pinello, any questions?
So the other unclassified revenue and the refunds, those are revenue, correct? It's money coming in.
Right, there's $5,000 coming in, 5,000 going out. But there was originally $2,000 budgeted in that other unclassified revenue that I didn't think we'd get. So we moved it to another line that it wouldn't get moved. Okay, so right now, the fire department's going in at 5,000, not 7,000, it's fine. That's what we did.
And that's a perma grant, $5,000 perma grant for washer and dryer replacement. Right, chief, it was washer and dryer, yes, yeah. $5,000 for washer and dryer replacement for perma grant money.
But what is the unclassified revenue? What was the refunds in prior years? What was it?
There was nothing there, we just moved it into that line. And so these two match up, this is now gonna be 5 and 5. It's just an easier way for us to match it up. There was 2,000 original budgeted there that probably should not have been budgeted there. Okay, we just corrected it. We just, when this came in.
So the refunds of prior year's expenditure, that's money that is there? I'm not.
No, there was originally $2,000 budgeted in other unclassified revenue.
$3,000 there.
The
The $3,000 there?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, well, if you throw that 5,000 in there, it brings it up to 7. Then it wouldn't match up. It'd be 7 and 5. We just moved it to another line. Okay, nothing's gonna happen, but just so these two are not matched up. This is gonna match up in the system as 5 and 5. No, so this-
Okay, because my impression was that the second,
We're not gonna get this refunds of prior years expenditures. I mean, it's a way for us to try to keep this together so we can track it. So what he spends, what the money comes in.
I'll ask you more about it, maybe, holding things up. Sorry about that.
Anybody else? Okay, move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello, Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
I,
Agenda item number 4, amend the 2026 adopted sewer fund budget.
Resolved that the city of Portland County Council does hereby amend the 2026 sewer fund budget as outlined in the accompanying table. Decreasing an account for motor equipment repair by the amount of $208,500. For a new account line total of $401,216,000. Increasing professional services line by that same amount of $218,500 for a new total account line amount of $342,136.
Can I get a motion, please? Ms. Lang, Michaels? Any questions?
So decreasing motor equipment line by 218,000, is that going to impact potential repairs later?
It should not, not this year.
Which, I mean, that's a significant budget number to begin with. Is there a reason why the number was that high? If it's not going to be utilized this year?
Well. Going into it as brand new as I was last year, working with Bob. So I'm pretty good at all of this, right?
Yes.
It was the understanding that the WQIP with 20% contribution from the city was going to be, engineering would be included in that, was not. So that is why that one was being, that one, so you probably saw some, so
That answers my next question, was why professional services, so that.
sure.
Yeah.
We're able to carry out a lot of in-house repairs. People we have, so. For instance, we just repaired the weight holding tank that we have, we had an instance where a mixer broke off and fell into the bottom of the tank. We had equipment that we had from a process that was installed back in 2014. But we no longer use, we were able to salvage that equipment and put it in place and save the city approximately $80,000.
Thank you for doing that.
Then it works now and the generator's running and things are on the end.
Who had to go to the bottom of the tank? Who are you mad at that
I haven't
day?
done it yet.
Haven't done it. Well, now.
Well, we can take volunteers, Mr. Chairman.
That's not swimming I like to do.
I'll hold your ankles for you.
Sorry.
Yikes.
Anybody else?
Sounds like good fireman training to me.
All right, let's move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello, Member Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 5, authorize the purchase of a police canine.
Resolved that resolved that the common council does hereby authorize the purchase of a police K-9 and necessary training services with funds to be appropriated from account TEO 2101, which is the K-9 Donations Trust, in an amount not to exceed $15,500. And be it further resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute any and all agreements necessary to complete the acquisition of the K-9 and associated training services.
Can I get a motion? Mr. Sullivan.
I think we all should.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Put us
We all
all
agree.
down, Andy.
That's it. Again, I commend, I'm gonna give Cheyenne credit, or Deputy Chief Cube for leading the pack and getting donations way far exceed, so I want to make sure you recognize it, but it's a small male dog, beautiful, beautiful dog, black face, Addie, ATTI is his name, and it's, I'm not, probably not supposed to say this, but it was taken from a derivative from its real name, atomic bomb. So, he's got a small but powerful but kind, right? So, I've seen some videos of this fight, and so we're excited to have him, and it's gonna be different to see Officer Perkins, who's 6'4" or whatever he is, and with a small K-9, and then Officer Drake with a large one, so it's gonna be interesting to see that, but we're excited for Addie to come in and get sworn in. You know, we'll bring him to the council to meet when,
Oh, yeah.
after his training, so.
What breed is he?
Melon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the check report.
Yeah, good job.
Dark, or,
Yeah, yeah, same.
beautiful. Okay, anybody else? Can you vote please?
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Absolutely.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 6, authorize agreement with Quinlivan, Piervic, and Kraus Architects and Engineers, LPC, QPK Design for professional service for accessibility study at Portland City Hall.
Resolved that the common council of the city of Cortland hereby authorizes the city to enter into an agreement with QPK Design for the provision of professional services for an accessibility study at Cortland City Hall. Be it further resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city, and be it further resolved that the expenditures associated with this agreement shall be charged to account H 1997541500 City Hall in an amount not to exceed $50,000, and that grant reimbursement will be deposited to account H 1997-44910 City Hall, and be it further resolved that this agreement shall become effective upon execution of the authorized parties.
Oh, I definitely move it.
Sorry, Ms. Pinello, Ms. Mr. Conlon. Anybody have any questions? I think it's exciting to see what comes out of it, and
Yeah.
certainly we need to update the way to get in and out of this building for everybody.
And
So I think there was
I provided a copy of an email from Alex Mikowski from Access to Independence.
Mhm.
She had wanted to come in person to speak in support of this, but was out of town. I think lobbying in Albany perhaps, and so you see there her letter of support, and she also, or the organization also provided a letter in support of the CDBG grant application.
And certainly we'll be partnering them as we do with all of our stuff to make sure that we have everything compliant and they help get some good ideas. All right, anybody else? Table it, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Definitely.
Councilmember Lane,
Hi.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith,
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 7, authorize agreement with M.A. Bongiovanni Incorporated for general construction for water quality improvement project, WQIP, at the wastewater treatment facility.
Resolved that the common council hereby authorizes Mayor Steve to enter into an agreement with M.A. Bongiovanni Incorporated for the general construction contract for the wastewater treatment facility water quality improvement project in an amount not to exceed $2,185,000. Be it further resolved that this project is funded through the water quality improvement project grant and associated local share from account H 8197-520607 as previously authorized by the common council.
Can I get a motion, please?
I'll move it.
Ms. Solomon, Ms. Pinello, any questions? Yes, several needed and Joe's gonna be under budget. All right, move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 8, want to note that there's a resolve that it's the same account number that should have been on the number 7 resolve. And the resolve, and Andy will read it, hopefully state for the minutes, that it should be H 8197-520607 capital improvement equipment, WQIP, same as the one before, so we just want to make sure we note that.
Yeah, so
Agenda, we'll read it when you get to that, please. Agenda number 8, authorize agreement with Emerald Electrical and Electrical Instruction for the water quality improvement, WQIP, at the wastewater treatment facility.
resolved that the common council hereby authorizes Mayor Steve to enter into an agreement with Emerald Electrical Contractors for the electrical construction contract for the wastewater treatment facility water quality improvement project in an amount not to exceed $243,200, and be it further resolved that this project is funded through the water quality improvement project grant and associated local share from account H 8197-520607 as previously authorized by the common council.
Can you get a motion, please?
So,
Ms. Backward? Ms. Solomon? Any questions? And
So the amount that we just authorized a couple items back was 218,500, correct? And this one is 243,200. Do we have the difference?
You had the 243 plus the 2.2. Okay. That goes into the WQIP project. These two, 8 and 9 are all part of the same WQIP project. And what are we under, about 48,000, Joe? What are we under, about $48,000 between the two of them?
from the grant.
So if you add up both of those things and take the whole project cost, this budget, they're under budget by like 48,000.
So just doing the math, that from that, correct?
And then there's a 500 some thousand dollar bond, there's a match, that's the grant, and then there's. Joe is a match, like 20%,
20%.
so there's roughly about $500,000 bond also. So this is really 2.7 together. So, but that's the grant,
Because that's a grant, and that's the
right?
cost there. I'm just trying to do the math because then.
Right, so if you take the 2.2 plus the 20%, which is like 500,000, that gets us up to 2.7. Then you take those two, they're underneath that 2.7 by about 48,000.
Okay, was this a previously approved bond?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Does everybody understand that? They follow through, so it's a bond. And it was covering the cost of the day out from last time.
We're gonna be under that.
It's under what the grant requirements are gonna be by 50,000. Well, 47, but
we'll get started.
and see Joe's under budget like you promised. Anybody else? Okay, move it please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 9, approve exotic pet permit for 10 Harrison Street.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council does hereby approve the issuance of an exotic pet permit to James and Carolyn Knight for the keeping of 3 chickens at 10 Harrison Street. And be it further resolved that the city clerk shall issue said permit conditioned upon satisfactory inspection and approval by a city designated representative in fulfillment of all applicable state and local code requirements, and that continued compliance with said requirements shall be maintained.
Any motion?
Go ahead.
Mr. Reynolds, second, Mr. Beckwith. Any questions?
I didn't realize chickens were considered exotic.
Apparently, you're worried about the law.
The city there.
I think so.
It's not a dog or a cat.
That's the annual inspection, what the talk about.
Well, it's a bird.
Yeah, Andy and I had some conversations this afternoon, so I think some additional legislation will probably come before the council at some point.
Okay, so
I was really impressed with the number of neighbors that wrote in to support this desire for 3 chickens.
yeah,
I think
I think all of
there's
them,
gonna be a whole lot of eggs being passed around.
maybe, right, the eggs are expensive, so maybe.
And this usually takes off just after Easter. I think once everybody sees those chicks,
Yeah.
the kids want the chickens in, so. We always get
It's
a.
not so nice of us.
As long as they don't get a rooster, because I don't think the neighborhood would probably appreciate a rooster.
We're not allowed to have one.
Our bylaws say they only can be out on time. For sale.
Mr. Thurwood, you had a rooster behind your house, didn't you, for a while? Is it still there? I haven't heard it in a while.
I haven't heard it in a while, but I was surprised when I heard some crowing and.
That's it. All right, anybody else? Can I move it, please?
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 10, amend title and purpose. Trust and agency account TE 2044, fire department defibrillator donations.
Resolved that the common council hereby declares the equipment listed in the table below as surplus and authorizes the Department of Public Works to sell said equipment through RTI auctions. And be it further resolved that any proceeds from the sale shall be placed into account A 5010426665 sale of equipment.
You missed the,
Item 10.
Yeah,
For
Yeah.
so
Oh,
that was just practice.
I'm just anxious to go ahead with.
we all.
So, resolve that said account designated as TE 2044 shall be retitled Fire Department Community Risk Reduction and Fire Prevention Donations. And be it further resolved that the fire chief is hereby authorized to utilize donations duly accepted by the county council and said account for community risk reduction and fire prevention products.
Got a motion, Mr. Beckwith, in a second.
I'll second that.
Mr. Collin, any questions?
Yeah, why?
Chief?
Follow me up. Yell from back there.
Not gonna send the battalion chief out.
So, this account is a donation account that's been in existence in the fire department for a very long time. So basically, when we receive donations that are not allocated for a specific purpose, we put them in this, what we call DFIP account. And over time, it would accrue funds, and if we needed to replace an AED in the department, we would use that money to do that. What we're finding now is we're getting donations that are designated for other things, and our smoke detector program that we've been very successful with, donations are coming in to support that. We have really no way to do that in any other donation account. So this will allow us to put money in there, purchase smoke detectors as we need. We're also working with some installation of those and are getting money back for that. So we got a lot of things in the hopper, but this allows the money to go in, and we get money to buy other detectors, because the program just keeps kind of above her. So that's what that's for.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Anybody else? Move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 11, declare Department of Public Works equipment surplus and authorize sale by auction.
As read.
I'll move it.
Yep.
Mr. Mello, wait a second. Mr. Tobin, any questions? Then move, please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 12, authorize a sole source contract with Poster Associates for the repair and upgrade of the wastewater treatment plant. Huron Park screen.
Resolved that the city of Portland County Council hereby designates the procurement of the Duke Heron bar screening parts and installation services as a sole source procurement. As Kester Associates is the only licensed entity capable of providing these proprietary components and certified labor in New York. And be it further resolved that the common council hereby authorizes Mayor Steve to execute an agreement with Kester Associates for parts, equipment, and installation and testing services as identified in the proposed scope of work by Kester for an amount not to exceed $75,340.71 to be paid for by account G8130-54055050 sewer equipment.
Make a motion, please. Mr. Tobin. Mr. Beckwith. Any questions? And move, please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello. Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
I know Mr. Jarrett wants to go home, but I'd like to get a motion for us to discuss negotiations and for executive session, please. Ms. Sullivan, can I get a second, please?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
One executive session, there should be no action. India wants to leave, there'll be no action after. Where are those paid documents?
Yeah, I already signed it.
Right.
Or signed down.
Can you say for the video that?
Beckwith and Lane. Then that'll be a motion for adjournment too.
So
You happy with